This is Dr. Carroll, and this video is about array lists. So as motivation, let's say we had for many years been using this child array of strings, and we already said we just need 3, and we've populated the first one with Emma, the next one with Noah, the next one with Olivia, and that worked for several years. But then we decided to add another element. So then how would we do that? What we would have to do is we would have to create a new and larger array, copy all of the elements from the old array into the new array. So what if we decided to add 1,000,000 elements into this new array? Then we'd have to expand the array each time with this algorithm. That sounds like a lot of work. Fortunately, Java Collections already has a solution, and that's of course array lists. So you can think of an array list as an expandable array of a single data type. And by expandable, I mean you don't have to worry about the memory allocation as it grows. So first off, what you need to know is you need to import it so that we can use ArrayList. It's java.util.ArrayList. So now let's talk about declaring an array list. Remember, when we declare an object, we have our data type on the left, and then our variable name, and then new, and then data type here. And so it's the same thing for an array list. Here we have array list, but notice it has these angle brackets, and we have a data type in our data type. So the data type is everything on the left here of the variable name. So this is our data type with an embedded data type. And then we say new, and then this new data type, and then we call its constructor. So notice we don't have just array list. We have a templated array list and we specify, are we talking about strings, objects? What are we talking about? Are we talking about bank accounts? What are we keeping track of with this array list? So let's see an example. So to solve the solution up above, we could have declared a children array list, and the type is string here. And so then you'll notice when we say we need a new one, we do array list string to be able to store that. So let's look at some common array list methods now. Add, right? We want to be able to add one in. Get, set, size, is empty, clear, remove, and then remove a reference. So first, add takes a reference to an object. And so it's just going to add on that reference to the end of the list. And if it needs to, it's going to make it grow, and we don't have to worry about that. Woohoo! We can do get. We can say, hey, at this index, I want the element that is at that index. And so, but notice we don't give it a valid index. It's going to throw an exception that that's not a valid index. We can set. We can say, hey, at this particular index, I want to set this reference to this object. Well, notice this does not shift everything. It's not an insert, it's a set. We're saying, hey, I don't care what was in there, I'm going to reset it. Size is going to return the number of elements stored. Is empty is going to return true if there's nothing in it, false otherwise. Clear is we're done, wipe everything. Remove is going to pull out the element that's at index I, and it's going to return it. And if that's not a valid index, then it's going to throw an exception. Whereas remove, if we give it the reference to an object, it's going to find the first instance of it and only the first, and then it's going to remove all the elements. It's going to shift all the elements down and return true. Otherwise, it's going to return false if it's not in there. Okay, and we already know what it is, so we don't need to return it. But this one, it will shift everything down and return true. Otherwise, it won't. So remove and remove, the overloaded remove method here, has a little bit of a complexity to it. So make sure you keep that straight. Now, there are more array list methods. Where do you think you could go to find out more about these methods? That's right, you can go to the documentation itself. And so here, what I want you to notice is we have class ArrayList, and notice it's got this E here. That E is for element, whatever we're going to store here. And notice this is its class name. It's templated to be able to take an element of type E. And so then you notice there's this inheritance hierarchy here. And there's two constructors that we really generally use. One is nothing, or two is saying, hey, I already know a rough estimate of what I'm going to need, so we can supply that. And as you would have guessed, there's a lot more methods here to meet all of our needs. Okay, let's look at an example here. Favorite fruits. So here's some code I wrote. And so to be able to just manage some of my favorite fruits. My favorite fruit of all time is Spondeus mobin. Okay, and so notice we just declare this FavFruits array list, and we're going to add to it. So we didn't say ahead of time how many it's going to be, and so we just add to it, add to it, add to it, add to it. We have some of my favorite fruits. And then we ask for an index, and we protect, this code protects against invalid indices, and then calls FavFruits get on that index, returns it to system.out.println, and displays it, and then asks for another one. Let's see it compiled. Alright, yay, it compiled, that's good. Okay, please enter the first index you'd like to see. 3, a banana, 2, 1, 0, and then what if we did, let's see, 4, 5, oh, 5 was out of bounds, and notice if we did -99. And the reason we're protecting against that is because it will throw an exception if we tried to get using index that wasn't valid. All right, to finish up, let's talk about method chaining. So method chaining is common when we're doing calls and we're getting an object like I just showed. And so if we had FavFruits get index, then we could have used the length of that index. We could have displayed it or done something with it, or checked if this was the longest fruit. But alternatively, what we could do is we could chain the request. Notice here that this returns a string, and then length is a valid call on the string. And so we call that method chaining. You'll see that very commonly. And if you're like me, you're like, whoa, that's a lot of symbols. So just think, okay, well, what is highlighted in blue here? The FavFruits.get index. That returns a string, and then we're going to call length on that string. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it.